Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Welcome to the mental health series of NAMCC here. Alhamdulillah, we are blessed with this opportunity to shed light on some important topics related to mental health. And we have today with us Dr. Ghulam Khan. He is a veteran in the community of psychiatry in here in Austin and has served our community for many years, mashallah, through various mediums. And he is very passionate about his work about mindfulness and just in general a very holistic approach to psychology and psychiatry. And today, inshallah, he's going to talk more about mindfulness with us. I remember from the last session he had some very interesting exercises and a lot of interesting things for us to discuss and learn from. So looking forward to learning from you, inshallah. And before we begin, Bismillahi wassalatu wassalamu alayka ya Rasulullah, Rabbi shrah li sadri wa yassir li amri wa ahlul uqdatam min lisani yafqahu qawli. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bless this gathering lecture, and thank you for taking your time on this weekend and attending this. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make this beneficial for us and for you all, inshallah. Dr. Khan, you should be able to start your video and you should be able to share, inshallah. Yes, I do see you.
Assalamu alaikum, everyone. So, can you guys hear me?
Yes, your voice is very clear, mashallah.
Thank you so much. I'm delighted to be here today, and I want to thank all the organizers for this session, and they've been doing an awesome job for for last few years. So wow, it's been almost a year since I presented this topic. So if you look at our lives, it's just a passing by. I mean, that kind of gives us the importance of realizing how valuable each and every moment of our life is. So please, I want you guys to just, wherever you are, be seated, relax, and just try to feel this moment. Alhamdulillah, like, we are here, we are breathing, our heart is working, our mind is working. This is the only moment we can live. We are alive. But if we pay attention to our mind, you can see how mindless we are. Most of our mind is always occupied by the thoughts about past or thoughts about the future. Very little time is spent in the moment you have now. Mind is always worried about things, which have already happened to us, or we think about things which will never happen to us. That's the nature of the mind. This is biologically designed in our mind. What we say is mind wandering. Now there's a whole science about mind wandering. Brain itself is designed like that. We like something, we don't like something. We like to approach certain things, we try to avoid things. So The mind itself can, mind can see things which are not there, and mind can miss things which are there. How often that happens to us, that we say things which we don't mean to. That you know gives us a kind of a methodology what we can do to, that's when the mindless stuff we can get rid of and try to be more mindful. So the science itself, word itself, doesn't give us much kind of a knowledge about the mindfulness. I call more like mind awareness, because the word itself is like a dud. It doesn't describe, it doesn't give us the real meaning, but the mindset, it encourages us, it teaches us, has a lot to do with it. So the mindfulness, coming back to the title today. So I would like you to, whoever is there, please write it down, the definition, which is more in a general term. Mindfulness is awareness that arises from paying attention on the purpose in the present moment, non-judgmentally. Awareness that arises from paying attention on the purpose in the present moment, non-judgmentally. So let's focus on that definition first. Awareness. Awareness, if you look at it, awareness can hold all our senses. Awareness is more, I will say it's like a sixth sense, but so we are trying to, strengthen our awareness in our lives, in our day-to-day functioning. That's one definition of that. So let's focus on awareness that arises from paying attention in the present moment, non-judgmentally. Then we talk about awareness that arises from paying attention. Attention. Attention is something we have to learn. We have to practice. Because if you look at any kind of orchestra, or when you go, what they do, most of the time they come together, they try to tune in instruments. So that's where you build attention. So it is a habit. It is the mindfulness is a practice, is an attitude which moment to moment bring us the awareness what's going on in our life. It helps us paying attention on the purpose in the present moment. Present moment is, as I said, is the only moment we are in. We more likely call ourselves human being. So it's a practice of being in the present moment. Because we are not living in yesterday, and we're not living in tomorrow. We are now. This is the moment. We can build new memories. We can, so the present moment is the only moment. If we want to change our future, this is the moment. The moment you are in now is the past future moment we are in. So the present moment, awareness, attention, and non-judgmental. So this is more like a general definition of the mindfulness. So if we try to look into, you know, process of mindfulness, um, let's start with the present moment. Okay, so if you ask anybody what is mindfulness, it is about being in the present moment. But mindfulness is more than present moment. It is, we say, I want to be in the present moment, but I want to be present in reality. So I use an example of, if you are familiar with the, black lab dogs, how are they? They are very bubbly. They look at you. They smile at you. So they are very present in the moment. But with your astute, observation, they are not mindful. So that's when we want to live in reality. There is a Portuguese poet, Fernando Pessoa. There was one of his book. He said, "You say live in the present moment. You say you only live in the present moment, but I don't want to live in the present moment. I want to live in reality." So we are in the present moment, but mindfulness is more than present moment. It is living in a reality. So how do we say what's real, what's unreal? That's when we utilize the observing power of our mind. When we can see what is real, what's unreal, then that's when we strengthen our mind, the observing power of our mind. Okay. Mindfulness is a little bit more than that. So if we look at, we are in the present moment, we are using the observing power of our mind. But if you look at our mind, what kind of filters we are in, what kind of attitude our mind is in. Is it a attitude of greed? Is it attitude of hatred? It is a attitude of delusion. It is attitude of wanting. So it is recognizing those attitudes, the filters in our mind. Because the one question I want you, you know, to ask yourself right now is, who are you? I mean, what you like, what you don't like, what makes you happy, what makes you unhappy. How do we can moment to moment live our life authentically, happily? How we can, and that is through the process of mindfulness, which is using the observing power of the mind without the filter, without the filters of greed. I mean, if you look at what's going on in the world, I mean, can you imagine, all these politicians and all the what's going on in the world? If you have, if they've been more mindful, whatever is going on, it wouldn't happen, because it's them versus us. It is so these are all the filters we have to get rid of. The process of mindfulness will, it, it is even more than that. It is the wholesome state of the mind, when the mind is free of delusion, of hatred, of greed, of wanting, of aversion, of fear. These are all the filters, the attitude, the mindset, which which mind can have. So this has a really serious impact on our day-to-day life, on our relationships, on our happiness. Because if we are able to recognize those filters, we can always change. Because when we are mindful, we are present in the moment, we are in the reality, we are looking at what filter in that moment, what attitude, what mindset our mind is operating. We can see what makes us happy, what makes us unhappy, and that will give us a remote in our mind to change channels. Because for example, for me, I over the years I learned that if I'm kind to people, it makes me happy. It doesn't matter, if I'm kind, if I'm unkind, that makes me unhappy. So when I'm getting rid of those filters, and I know what filters I'm using, I can change the channel and live my moments more authentically, more happily. Um, because we are alive when we are alive in the moment. We call ourselves human being. It's all about being in the moment, using this observing power of a mind, getting rid of those filters, and and that will come through the awareness. Awareness can hold, um, you know, the whole thought process. So if you are observing, we are using the observing power of the mind. If you look at it, our thoughts, okay? So let's look at our thoughts. What is thought? Thought is just a wisp of energy which blips in our mind, and we tend to focus more on thoughts. If you realize, if you look at the phenomena of thoughts, thought itself has no value. I mean, it will come and it will go, just like a. But most of our, when we are not mindful, we have we build a relationship to our thought. We believe every single thought as it true, and we try to focus on the content of the thought. We feel that's true, we try to follow, and it becomes a dictator of our mind. We are slaves of our thoughts, and thought can really dictate, do this, do that, believe this, believe that. But thought itself, it's like an ocean. The mind, it will create waves. But when we are fully present in that moment, then we can just not do anything. You know, Einstein was very famous about saying that, we are lucky enough if we have 1 to 2 good thoughts in our lifetime. I mean, Mark Twain is famous about saying this, that there has been so many tragedies in my life, some of them happened. So coming to thought will arise, and we try to hold on to the thoughts we have a very, But if you look at the phenomena of thoughts, we can just say, okay, just like ocean, you are on the side, and you waves will arrive, thought will arrive, and you will just Sit and watch. It's like soap bubbles. You don't have to do anything, you know, it will just go away. So that is the observing power of the mind. Okay. So we can look at the filters. We mindfulness will gives us this power. It is a way to freedom to not get stuck in those thoughts. And coming back, when we are building this awareness, we will know we are thinking. It's the difference. That's the difference between being lost in thoughts and knowing that I am thinking. So we are not, our thoughts are not driving us, like a slave. We call ourselves Homo sapiens, which means awareness, awareness about awareness. Okay, just like now, I am physically present, but I know I'm present. It's like when you go on a cruise, the signs, constant reminder, is here, you are here, you are here, you are here. That is kind of a mantra you can we can use, being present emotionally, without filters, without anger, without being unkind. There are, you know, um, sayings about, treat everyone with kindness when it is possible, and it's always possible. I mean, one of um, just a little example, I will say, just like a speech, all right? We love to speak, but what's the filter behind our speak? What's the motivation behind our speak? I mean, there are some saying that if we love to talk about other people, I mean, we can be mindful about our speech, um, speaking in a way which brings people together, not create divisiveness. So these are some of the, so the mindfulness is being in the present, but it is more than being present. It is utilizing the observing power of the mind, but it is more than observing power of the mind. It is identifying the filters which doesn't make serve us, which doesn't serve people around us or anybody, and replacing those and identifying those which doesn't serve us. Because if we just go our day to day, moment to moment, without realizing what kind of attitude, what kind of mindset we are living in, we are strengthening those neurological circuits. I mean, there's a term. So it's not like just a hobby of trying to being in the moment. It has impact on our physical health and mental health. I mean, we used to say it's just like you are fixed. Our mind is fixed, our body is fixed, but it is not like that. I mean, there's a term called neuroplasticity, which explains this process that our mind, our body is a constant flow of energy. It is constantly adopting, changing what we are doing moment to moment. So if you have you are using these filters and attitudes which are with anger, with hate, um, in being self-centered, then you are strengthening those brain circuits. And if you are being mindful, you are watching and you are replacing those with kindness, love, compassion, then the mind will automatically will be inclined to those. So this is a very serious business. It's too serious to be so serious that is too serious, because either we can just follow our mind and be mindless, self-centered, self narratives, trying to change other people instead of self reflecting. Okay, what does makes me happy, what serves me. That's the whole process. So mind is like a muscle. Is there anybody good at it? Not at all. It is a practice. Just like we go to the gym and we train our muscles against resistance. That's what it is. Yeah, there can be a formal or informal, practice when you sit down quietly by yourself and just watch. That's the myth. If you wanna look how your mind is working moment to moment, just sit down and watch your. So it is a practice. It is self-reflecting. It is looking inward to our mind, how we do what to, how we do what to, moment to moment. Because if we are just going with the flow, then we, as I said, it is a we are strengthening those circuits which doesn't make us happy. So this is you have learned this whole in a few minutes. um, if you have any questions or any comments, please. um, um, so the let's recap again, since we have few minutes. So mindfulness is the awareness that arises from paying attention on the purpose in the present moment, non-judgmental. Okay, so it, as we practice, it will give us another sense of awareness, which can hold our thoughts, because our thinking is, can outsmart our awareness. So as we are being mindful, we are aware. Awareness is, we build our awareness. Then it helps us pay attention in the moment, wherever you are. A lot of divorces are happening because, people get married and said, oh, I thought you will be with me, but you are always connected somewhere else. I'm sure all of us have this phone. We are constantly connected to our phones. We are looking outward for happiness instead of looking, and that's when the mindfulness comes in. What makes us happy? I'm sure you all have a happy website where you tell you, if you buy this you will be happy, if you do this you will be happy. But if we are not aware, if we are not mindful what makes us happy moment to moment, then we can just continuous, we got the whole recipe wrong. And at the end of our life, that whatever I was too busy trying to find happiness outwards. I was, trying to fix other people. I was, but folks, this is a serious stuff, and it has impact on our day-to-day lives. In every aspect of our life. If you look at even in the schools, mindfulness is being taught in schools now, because most of these students are not ready to learn. They have the whole world has ADD now, because we are too lost in the past or in the future, or our mind is constantly worried, or we are constantly planning. That's the so being in the present, utilizing the observing power of the mind, but it is a skillful practice of observing the mind, which is free of filters, free of mindset, which it's a wholesome state of mind when the mind is free of greed, free of hatred, free of delusions, free of fear, and it is replacing the attitudes which makes us happy. Um, so this is what I have to say. Anyone has any questions? Or sorry, I went a little bit off um, the so I can.
Thank you, Dr. Khan. That was wonderful, mashallah. It is very important to learn the practice of mindfulness, especially as you mentioned in today's day and age when we have too many things around us. Alhamdulillah, this was a good start of that, and just to give us an insight to start working on ourselves and paying attention to the things that we need to. Anybody who has questions can type them, can, raise their hands. Inshallah, we'll be open to that.
If you have a time, I would like you to, like all of us, to practice this a little bit. If you wanna, so please, let's make yourself comfortable wherever you are. Just draw all your attention to your body, okay? Then to your breath, then to your mind. Watch what kind of thoughts, what kind of judgments are arising. Like I said, thoughts are just a wisp of energy, and try to focus in this moment, because the whole purpose of this training is to put our mind on the track. Because if we don't do this, then the mind is off the hook. Mind gets bored easily. Mind likes to entertain. Mind likes to, thinks about this, thinks about that. And mind is always judging. Mind is always clinging. Mind is always wants to hold on. Mind wants to, how much judgments we have about everyone. If you look around, we are constantly judging. So with the practice, like some of the mind attitudes, filters we have is holding on, clinging, not letting go. I use an example of the example of catching monkeys in India. You know, when they um, how they catch monkeys. Monkeys are on the trees, and they tie rope at the root of the tree and stick a banana, and banana is stuck in a hole. So when the monkey comes down and tries to hold the banana, it doesn't want to let go. So that's how they get caught. So these are some of the common filters we can look at our mind. Not having enough gratitude, you know. So I know if you look at our own self, we might have pain, we might have suffering, we might have bodies, aging. So, the law of the nature is everything is constantly changing. So if we hold on, if we try to cling, we are going to suffer. So the body is changing. Even a person who you are with, they are changing. Our positions, our everything is constantly changing. So more you cling on, more you will suffer. That's another practice. The attitude of the mind which we can train is, they say, create a mind which clings to nothing. If it comes, if it comes, it comes. If it goes, it goes. Because if we are not letting go, that leads to suffering. And suffering means carrying. We are constantly carrying around, some of the self narratives. I'm old, I'm this, I'm that, but that's the part of human suffering. you know if you look at, this is the rent we have to pay. If we don't pay the rent, we get evicted. So the aging is rent, sickness is aging. But just like Rumi said, your our body, human being, our soul is like a guest house. Whatever comes in, say welcome. The pain, the suffering, the trauma, you know, if it comes, it comes. If it goes, it goes. So that's another. So as I said, as we practice, as we learn about these mind attitudes, which are a mindset, which we can identify moment to moment and replace that, get rid of that, and that's when the mindfulness comes in. It will give you a remote to watch, to switch channels. This is not serving me, I need to do this. If this is serving me, I need to, you know, because as I said, more life is just a constant flow of moments, and each and every moment has impact on our. If we one of the strong attitude I teach is accepting things as they are. That's another filter of the mind is, um, non-accepting. We are trying to shift the furniture around us to serve us. That's a lot of that's a recipe for disaster or unhappiness. I mean, our mind will tells us, like self narratives. It makes us feel like we are the center of the earth. World is revolving around us. I'm sorry to say, but that's not how things work. As I said, there is a law of impermanence, which means everything is constantly changing. you know. So these are some of the skillful attitudes we can train our mind. Watch what mindset we are playing in moment to moment. And it is a process, it is a work in progress. I said, biologically, we are designed to have mind, to have wandering mind, to worrying mind, planning mind. Mind is in the past, most of our thoughts, or we are living in the future. We never present, we are never living in the moment with reality, watching these filters, replacing those filters, watching what makes me happy, what makes me unhappy, and I can switch. Because, I mean, we are not here to live forever. And if we are constantly trying to, and there are biological implications of that. Studies have shown that, and this is very serious. Studies have shown that if you live in the moment, it has impact on our telomeres, you know, and it increases the levels of the enzyme telomerase, which tries to regenerate, heal these telomeres. But if we are constantly lost in thoughts, my body is here, but mind is somewhere else, there's a lot of disconnection. If your immune system is not talking to your nervous system, if your nervous system is not talking to your gut, all the systems have their own, they're not communicating, there's no healing. That's when the chronic diseases come, aging comes in, and it has impact on our longevity if you are constantly. So it is a serious business. Anybody else? Is there any question?
I do not see any questions. Oh, yeah. So there is one question, Dr. Khan,
Yes,
and I
please.
think it's very relevant. I know you said that, the first step is to become mindful, just to see just let the thoughts come and go and see what is going to be serving us, what makes us happy, and then take it. But how do you actually get a grip or control over that, instead of going with that thought process or the thoughts that are constantly there? How do you train your mind? Like more resources, just that's another question, also, actually, is more resources to actually do that. Because, yes, we all want to achieve that state of, being in control of our thoughts, or at least not entertaining each and every thought that is coming, but rather only taking the ones that are important to us and serving us. Um, but what is, as the mind is a muscle, and the good news is we can all learn this process. So, how do we actually learn this art of doing this, rather?
Yeah, I mean, first of all, you don't have to do anything because mind does what it does. I mean, just like you cannot stop your mind, your heart from beating, the job of the mind is thinking. We are constantly thinking. We wake up thinking and we go to sleep thinking. So, but that's what the definition I mentioned, awareness can hold on all this. Okay, this is just a thought. In what circumstances it arises, depending upon the temperature of the mind. Like I gave the example of ocean. Depending upon the temperature of the ocean, The thoughts will arise, but by itself, thought is nothing but it's just a wisp of energy. So I'm aware that this is just a thought and I'm mindful, the thought will arise, and I have created a space between the thought and action. So, more we train our mind to be in the moment, and like that's the total definition as we discussed awareness, we build awareness about our thoughts, our mind, our life, what to say, what not to say, when to say. We are responding more mindfully rather than reacting. That's the difference. That's the difference between when we say things which are hurtful, we say impulsively things, that's reacting. But if I have my 100% mind present, I'm already fully aware what's going to happen. If I say this thing, this will happen. If I do this, this will happen. Sometimes not doing is more than enough. So, again, you cannot stop thoughts. Thought will does. Same thing is to me like nightmares. People take their nightmares very seriously. It's just a mind wandering at night. You catch yourself aware, and oh God, I have this illness. This was a kind of personal journey. A lot of when the thought arises, we try to be judgmental. That's another attitude we discussed today about changing the mind, which is non-judgmental. That's the definition I'm going to write down. Attention that arises from paying attention on the purpose in the present moment, non-judgmentally. So if you don't get anything from this today, please write down this definition and just moment to moment practice this. Am I fully aware? So whatever just like it will helps us with all the most of the psychiatric disorders, like even with eating disorders or addiction or smoking. Impulse is there, but if I'm aware, I can just that thought, that impulse which is being arised, I can just say it's just another soap bubble. I don't have to do anything. It's going to go away. So more we are mindful. So it is a practice, as I said. So the best way to look into yourself is just disconnect from everything, look inward, sit down. That's another thing which where we learn. Whenever you have opportunity, just sit down, disconnect yourself, because we are constantly connected with everything in the world, what's going on, but to ourselves, to our own body, our own mind, our own breath, our own emotions, our own feelings, our own attitude, our own behaviors. And we just impulsively act out. And that leads to, as I said, this has health consequences. It has impact on our relationships, our social lives, our work life, and most importantly, our health. I hope I was able to, answer your question. So I'm writing this definition. Um, Awareness that arises from paying attention on the purpose in the present moment, non-judgmentally. Okay, so please write it down and keep practicing, and just follow. As I said, if you haven't learned anything today, I'm sorry, I might be off the chart here, but just try to keep your mind in the present moment, then get connected with your mind and watch, observe, but it is a special kind of observation. It is observing the attitude of your mind, the mindset, the mind status. It is mind which is free of hatred, free of delusion, free of fear, fear of wanting, fear of desire. You know, I can use another example. If you look at have you there's one term I like to use is called catalog consciousness. So have you ever looked at catalog? You are constantly looking, scanning what you like. That's one of the example of wanting, the desire. I mean, you don't finish until you find something you like. That's not mindfulness because that has that attitude of wanting, desire. So the wholesome health comes when we are free of these mindsets and we are aware that we are aware of those attitudes and we can practice and get rid of those.
Thank you so much. So, I think one of the important things to understand is we do not have much control of the thoughts that will come,
Beautiful, yes.
but we can have control over what we do in that moment, rather, whether we act or we do not. And that's the most important thing to understand.
You said right. I mean, you cannot stop the mind from thinking, but when you are aware that you are lost in the train, the continuation of the thoughts, that's not mindfulness. But when you catch yourself that you are thinking, it is more like thinking about your thinking and not taking your thoughts seriously because it is discerning, it's non judging. Oh God, I shouldn't be thinking like this. Why this thought is arising? No, you cannot stop the mind. You cannot stop the ocean from waving. But if you are like on the beach, you know how these waves will come, strike to the shore, and they will go back. So you don't have to do anything. Just watch and just be in the moment. Watch your mind wandering. So
It's a very good example, as you said, a very good analog that it's like the waves of the ocean. They're just coming and going. Just watch them. Don't do anything about them. Um, Thank you so much. Jazakallah khair. I think that's the first step, being aware. And once you start the process of awareness, all the listeners who are here, that is your first step to your journey. Um, So I think somebody is asking on the impact of stress on effective mindfulness.
very good. That's a very good question. And thank you for. Sorry, there's a whole topic about stress. So, like I said, stress is a part of our life. Stress is a part of human condition. I mean, stress. But how do you deal with the stress? That's up to you. If you take this stress personally, And just remember, there's nothing personal. Don't take anything personally. It is it is your attitude towards the stress which can change. Because stress is, we used to say, oh, smoking is bad, sedentary lifestyle is bad, obesity is bad, alcoholism is bad. But out of all these, stress is the worst. Stress has, there's a lady, she won Nobel Prize um, about this study, that stress enhances the degradation of our telomeres, and it stops the production of telomerase enzyme, which tries to. So stress is a part of human condition, but how do you deal with it? How do you cope with it? And the mindfulness has, so if you just watch, just focus wherever you are. Stop living in the future. Let go the past, because you are not living in yesterday. You are not living in tomorrow. Okay, you can always plan, but not everything will work out for you, because, like I said, law of impermanence, which means not everything will work out for you. You might plan, but things might not work out, and then we say, oh, this. So the steps are, like we said, stress is a part. How do you deal with it? Don't take it personally. And being in the moment, watch your mind wandering, because mind, which is how much, if you look at it, how much energy we spend about thinking. Thinking can easily oversmart awareness. And then when you comes in, real stress comes from thinking. Depression comes from thinking. Anxiety comes from thinking. Okay, so that's why you cut off and you just put your mind on the track in the present moment, wherever you are. Then, of course, if you have a pain, you have suffering, you have an attitude, that's another attitude, which is acceptance, accepting. And there's another term we use in mindfulness practice is beginner's mind. That's one thing you have to look at it. If you look at it, most of our attitudes, behaviors, actions come from our past. If we have, so that's the first rule of mindfulness, beginner's mind. You are present in the moment with new mind. You are looking things as they are. You don't have any pre-planned judgment. This is not going to work. This is what I was trying to, when I did a small practice. I'm sure when you came to this, seminar, you probably had your own judgments. Some of them might be good, some of them might be not good. That was not mindful. That's another example, either good or bad. So you practice non-judgmental awareness, beginner's mind. I mean, that's another thing which I can say about stress.
We can have these points in like a PDF or a Word document attached to the link that will be for the session for today. So inshallah, they can kind of benefit from it. So they can go over whenever the listeners are doing that in the future, inshallah. And
Yeah, definitely. I mean, there is a lot of, as I said, mindfulness is everywhere. If you look around, there's a lot of data. Uh, it's not just theory, but the real practice is when we are, you know, practicing in our day to day life, day to day moment. We are
mhm,
present, we see what makes us happy, what. So, I mean, theoretically, there is a lot of data, but, you know, we can practice in our daily life and see what and change those, get rid of those mind habits.
absolutely. And that's one of the, very important things. Just understand it's never too late. It is always possible. Your brain is very, we know now that it's not a fixed amount of brain cells that you've had. You can always generate more. You can always build that muscle more and more. It doesn't matter what age you are at. It doesn't matter what your past is. It does not matter. That's one of the things I've been reading and learning a lot about recently, is to change that it is possible. We all see and have encountered people who had stroke, or people who had brain injuries, people who've had those actual damages that we know, and have learned again to talk, to walk, to do those things, right? So the same way, our mind, as it does the physical function, it is also this important mental state, and the psychological aspect of it can also be trained to do differently. So that is something very important to take. If, as Dr. Khan said, some very good key points to take from here. And inshallah, thank you so much. Jazakallah khair. I think one of the things we need to follow this up with Dr. Khan is, whenever you have time, is to actually do a session where you could, um, now that we gave the points for the mindfulness and self awareness, just to teach a way to let those thoughts pass, or to teach those things, I think will be a very beneficial workshop or a lecture.
Yeah, definitely.
um
I can add a few, one exercise you can do at night, which is very simple. Um, I mean, that's what, you know, it has helped me. So if you are right now, if you are present, just as I said, make yourself comfortable, okay, and just let go all the thoughts, relax your eyes, relax your body, and just one, which is very simple. It's called a corpse posture. So when you are in bed, you are sleeping. I mean, that's when the real regeneration, the real healing occurs. So simple. Just practice your awareness, your attention, starting from your big toe. Okay? So starting with the toe, take a deep breath. Please, if you guys want to practice, just let it go. Just let it, like a fixed corpse posture. Basically, you are dead. You are pretending to be dead, which means you die to the past, you die to the future, you are present only right here in this moment. The only moment you are alive. Okay? Get in touch with your breath. That's another thing which you can practice your day to day is your breathing. Most of the time we don't even know we are breathing. How many times we are so lost in thinking that we don't even breathe. So every night, start with your practice with this posture. Start with your big toe. Take a deep breath. Your full attention is on your big toe. let go. Then switch your mind to toe next to big toe. And that's like you take 5 deep breaths for your left foot. Let's practice these 5 deep breaths. Now I'm switching to my left hand and same process. 1 deep breath for my thumb, then my index finger, then middle, then ring, then the pinky. Deep breaths. See how the mind body is being coordinated. Take a breath, then you go to your right foot. You repeat the same deep 5 breaths for your right foot. And then you switch to your right hand. Repeat the same process. A simple 5-minute exercise. If you have trouble with sleeping, you can start with this and see how much, So you are practicing your awareness being in bed in sleep time. You are not worried about what's going to happen tomorrow. You are not worried about what happened today. See, awareness, you are building your, hey, I still have 8 hours to go. Nothing I can do right now. I'm in my bed. So you are building your awareness. You are building awareness. You are practicing your attention. You are present in the moment. You are non-judgmental. Simple bedtime routine. And you will watch. And this is slowly, your mind, you will strengthen those circuits which are being present. You are shifting from your default mode of the brain, which is constantly thinking, thinks self-narratives, Then you switch in the present and you awareness, you are practicing attention, you are being present, and you are being non-judgmental. So these are the 4 basic definitions of mindfulness.
That was a wonderful exercise, mashallah. That was good. I think we are, we learned quite a lot. Alhamdulillah, we did from this session. And inshallah, as I said, we should follow it up with another, session as you were discussing. And inshallah, we will, continue with this. And thank you so much to everybody who took their time off today to
Thank you so
attend it.
much for, as I said, I'm very delighted. And thank you for your company. It's a beautiful day outside.
Yes.
And few things, just to recap, 3 questions I want you guys to ask yourself. First of all, why you came here today? Who are you? What do you like? What do you dislike? Keep practicing. And what makes you happy? And what makes you unhappy? Keep practicing these questions. And, if needed, I'm okay to do this, on every monthly basis, these mindless groups. If the community members want to join, we can really go step by step and practice these, sessions. Thank you for having me.
Jazakallah khair for your time. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala reward you and accept this from you and make it beneficial for everyone. And as I said, thank you so much for attending. And we will conclude with the dua. Subhanakallahumma wa bihamdik ashhadu an la ilaha illa ant astaghfiruka wa atubu ilaik. Jazakallah khair. Until the next month, inshallah, everyone.
Allah Hafiz.
Allah Hafiz.
Thank you for coming.